Let's take a look at the markets now. And well, the prospect of a new US fiscal stimulus package of $1.4 trillion, injecting quite a bit of optimism. Add to that the rollout of those COVID-19 vaccinations. And it was a pretty green picture on Wall Street. The Nasdaq Composite ending the day up 1.25% higher at a new record there. Lots of movement also on the US stock futures overnight. Asian stocks, meanwhile, followed on from that positive end on Wall Street. As you can see there, it's green across the board on the main indexes there. The Hang Seng in Hong Kong up almost 0.9%. The Kospi in Seoul up almost half a percentage point. Well, we can cross now to market analyst at FXTM, Han Tan. Han, investors clearly feeling broadly positive again. What's the main element for you lifting sentiment?
Hello.
Hi, Han. If you can hear me, we're just saying it looks like investors feeling pretty positive this Wednesday. Can you hear me, Han Tan? It's Eve in Paris. Yes, just looking at the markets, and it's pretty green across the main indexes there in Asia, finishing positive on Wall Street. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, so a couple of things here, really. First, you've got this persisting optimism that we could see an agreement for the next U.S. fiscal stimulus package, and because more financial aid being pumped into the economy would buffer the fundamentals for companies. It would also encourage spending. So all that is seen as a positive for stocks, right? And so you've got Asian stocks feeding off of what happened in U.S. markets overnight. And of course, with the positive developments surrounding Moderna's vaccine, it's set to get the green light soon, possibly within the next 24 to 48 hours. So that's also supporting risk sentiment, because the idea is that as more vaccine rolls out into the U.S. economy, that should help form a stronger base for the U.S. economic recovery.
Indeed, and looking at that economic recovery, the US Federal Reserve expected to release a new outlook for the economy. Any idea how things might go and what impact that will have?
Yeah, I think the economic outlook will feature more of the same that the Fed has been mentioning over the past few months. So we expect the Fed to continue reiterating that the recovery is ongoing. But I think there are some areas of concern that will feature on the Fed's radar. So if you look at the waning recovery in the jobs market, for example, also weak inflationary pressures. So with that in mind, I think the Fed is expected to offer more policy support, more likely early next year. I think if it happens today, it might be a bit of a surprise. Then I think based on market interpretations on what happens today, we could see moves in various asset classes, including stocks, the dollar, and even gold during the U.S. session today.
Okay, Han Tan, market analyst at FXTM. Thanks indeed for your time. Well, meanwhile, the European Union has announced sweeping new rules to regulate big tech companies over illegal or harmful content and anti-competitive behaviour. The draft laws could see fines and even breakups imposed on tech giants like Facebook, Google, Amazon or Apple. Catherine Viette and Yuka Royer tell us more.
It's the most serious attempt yet by the European Union to rein in the world's biggest technology giant. The twin new laws proposed by the Commission, the Digital Markets and Digital Services Act, aim to limit the big tech's power over the market and protect internet users.
I understand that in other countries or continents, they will stick only to the pure competition rules. For us, we decided that we had to take maybe another approach with an ex-ante to be quick and fast.
Ex-ante obligations under the Digital Markets Act mean some internet giants are giving a list of do's and don'ts, requiring or banning certain behaviours before regulators have evidence of actual harm in the marketplace. They'll be asked to share some data with rivals and authorities and stop favouring their own services on their platforms. The rule applies to so-called gatekeepers that control large amounts of data and online access. Google, Facebook, Amazon and Microsoft are among those that receive this designation. The other legislation, Digital Services Act, aims to tackle hate speech, disinformation and fraud online by making platforms responsible for hosted content. Violating the rules could result in heavy fines.
On the question of fines, it is indeed 6% in the Digital Services Act and 10% in the Digital Markets Act, 10% of its total turnover each undertaking, the total turnover in the preceding financial year.
Repeat offenders could be broken up as a last resort. The final legislation will need to be approved by the EU's 27 member states and the European Parliament, a process which could take more than a year.